우리 할머니 죽인 게 네가 아니라 팔척이었다는 걸 왜 말 안 했냐고.
A woman's confession shook the heart of the Aimugi for 1,000 years. In episode 9 of Quigging, we learn that the existence of steel is not simply that of a monster. And Yeori, her wavering emotions were much deeper and hotter than we had thought. Can their feelings truly transcend fate? Episode 9 of Quigging was the episode where Kangchul and Yeori's emotions met. In this 9th episode, 3 scenes stood out that shook the viewers' hearts as the past of the royal family is revealed. One is the moment when Yeori faces the truth. Another is the kiss scene where Kangchul openly reveals his emotions. And finally, the scene where the dark conspiracy between Pungsan and Kim Bong-in is unveiled. The story begins as the truth surrounding the death of the shaman Neobdiak is revealed. All this time, Kangchul Yeori, who was misunderstood as the culprit behind Neobdiak's death, has lived resenting him. However, the truth was that a person named Pungsan had lured the Palcheokgui and sacrificed Neobdiak as an offering. Pungsan was a loyal servant of Kim Bong-in, and under his orders, he attempted to control the Palcheokgui to resist the royal family. He believed that eliminating the shaman's powers possessed by Neobdiak was essential for Kim Bong-in's plan to proceed smoothly. So he lured the Palcheokgui to Neobdiak to eliminate him. In this conspiracy, Pungsan was not just a simple subordinate, but a key figure in realizing Kim Bong-in's plan. Yeori realizes that the resentment she held was misplaced. The 8-legged ghost, which she only knew as a monster, killed Neobdiak, and Kangchul was actually the one who struggled to prevent that danger. Only then does Yeori ask why Kangchul took the blame for everything. Steel speaks firmly. That side was better for me. This one phrase reveals the depths of the character Steel. To protect Yeori, he chose silence, fearing that revealing the truth to Yeori, who was 13 at the time and burdened with pain, would become an even greater burden, enduring all misunderstandings. That feeling is not just simple guilt or responsibility, it is love. The feelings that were left unspoken, and thus deeper, also shake Yeori. I'm really glad that you didn't make our grandmother feel that way. That's the first thought that came to my mind. So I don't hate you anymore. My feelings of attraction no longer feel guilty. In response to this confession, Kangchul does not answer. Instead of words, I respond to her heart with a deep gaze and a kiss. The moment the legendary serpent reveals its feelings towards a human woman, the viewers couldn't help but hold their breath. Meanwhile, the confrontation between Lee Young and Kim Bong-in intensifies. Lee Jung, who seeks to carry on the late king's will, and Kim Bong-in, who tries to thwart him, along with those around Lee Jung, Kangchul and Yeori become targets. Yeori is attacked by an assassin, and Kangchul faces a crisis when Yoon Gap's mother is kidnapped. Pungsan is the executor of all these operations. On the surface, he acts like a loyal subject, but his hands are stained with blood from the death of Neobdiak, the assassination attempt, to the kidnapping of Yoon Gap's mother. Pungsan moves as the hands and feet of Kim Bong-in. The atrocities he has committed are not merely a threat to the royal authority, but a heinous plot that endangers civilians as well. However, what is even more impressive in this episode is the inner world of the characters. In particular, Kangchul finally acknowledges his emotions after a long time of avoiding them and approaches Yeori. But just because he reveals his feelings, it doesn't mean that everything will go smoothly. Yeori is still confused, and Kangchul does not rush her heart. BB's role is also interesting. At first, Kangchul was reluctant to accept Yeori's request to protect her. But the scene where he accepts it, to look for an opportunity to separate them, feels like foreshadowing. People caught between Yeori and Kangchul are looking forward to how their relationships will be shaken in the future. Additionally, Yeori experiences emotional changes in her relationship with Lee Jung. Although Yeori had harbored resentment towards the royal family, she finds herself walking the same path as Lee Jung, in pursuit of a common enemy, the Palcheokgui. Understanding each other's past and choosing to walk together for a greater cause rather than seeking revenge is a moment that showcases Yeori's growth as a character. What is most impressive is Yeori's confession, which she finally makes despite her pain. In that moment, when she was able to free herself from the feelings that made her feel guilty and be honest for the first time, the kiss of steel was not just an expression of love, but the beginning of breaking down years of misunderstanding and distance, building a bridge towards each other. Kwigging masterfully blends mystery and emotional depth in each episode, providing both tension and touching moments. Episode 9, in particular, maximized the charm of the character Kangchul, captivating the audience. The reconciliation between the man burdened by the weight of the past and the woman who has misunderstood him, along with the gradually revealing conspiracy of Pungsan and Kim Bong-in, raises curiosity about what trials this emotion will face in the next episode, what shadows Pungsan will cast, and how far Kim Bong-in's plans will extend. One thing is clear, Kwigging is becoming deeper in both emotion and development. Episode 9 of Kwigging conveys the message that, when faced with the truth, emotions change direction. Resentment turns into love, fear turns into consideration, and ultimately, it is sincerity that drives all these changes. The tears of Yeori and the kiss of steel were not just simple scenes, but the most human moments that Kwigging aims to convey. And how this sincerity will connect to future conflicts. What choices will be made in the next episode? Watching that flow is the true enjoyment of this drama. Episode 10 of Kwigging was the moment when the essence of the drama changed. Now the fight has become a journey to uncover the injustices of the past, rather than just a simple battle against ghosts. Let's delve into the identity of the Palcheokgui, the rage of Kangchul, the courage of Yeori, the betrayal of Pungsan, and even the hidden truths of the royal family. In episode 10, the emotions and narratives of the characters deepened, leading to an intriguing development as we got closer to the identity of the Palcheokgui, which is central to the fantasy world. In particular, it was an episode that kept our eyes glued to the screen. With the alliance of Yeori, Kangchul, and Lijong, the duality of Pungsan, and the shocking testimony of the Palcheokgui. The story begins after the kiss between Kangchul and Yeori. There was still an awkward atmosphere between them, but the tone of their emotions had definitely changed. Yeori no longer thinks only of pain when she thinks of Kangchul. Rather, we name that emotion and prepare to accept it. Lee Jung-eun does not hide her joy at Yeori's return. This means that her return is not just about survival, but about participating in the fight to eliminate the Palcheokgui. Yuri's statement is clear. The eight-fingered demon is now also my grandmother's enemy. That statement was also a declaration to solidify the alliance with Lee Jung and Kangchul. One important keyword in this episode is the identity of resentment. Yeori recalls the words of the shaman, who said in life, there are no evil spirits. In other words, the premise is established that the Palcheokgui is not a demonic entity, but a ghost that harbors unresolved grievances, resentment. Therefore, Yeori says there is only one way to eliminate the Palcheokgui, to uncover the true identity of that ghost, and to resolve its grudge. Now the fight becomes not just a simple brawl, but a mission to uncover the truth. Kangchul cautiously raises the possibility of guiding the Palcheokgui with the story of the glowing bamboo. What they need to untangle is not the cycle of revenge, but the knots of a complicated past. In the meantime, Kangchul solves another assignment. This time, he goes to repay the debt he owes to Gwak Sang-chung. And he will no longer remain silent. It neutralizes the talisman with the name, and throws him as prey to Bibi. It was a condemnation and a warning. Here, Steel is not just a simple Imugi, but a cold figure who is completing his revenge. However, the most urgent developments are concentrated in the latter half. Yeori has realized that Pungsan is a Guji, and just as she tries to inform Lee Jung, she gets kidnapped. Lee Jung was tracking the royal family tree and narrowing down the identity of Palcheokgui, while Kangchul goes on a rampage in anger over Yeori's disappearance. The scene where a spark ignites with just a glance. The rage of Steel was not merely indignation, but an explosion of emotions he had suppressed until now. However, the key point of this episode undoubtedly comes from the words spoken by the Palcheokgui's mouth. The Palcheokgui, who has taken over Pungsan's body, says, "I have seen it. On the day I was born 100 years ago, you fell to the ground." This suggests that the eight-footed spirit shares a deeply rooted past with steel. And the crucial phrase is, "Your enemy is not me." They are of that royal bloodline. This ambassador poses a strong question to the viewers. The eight-legged monster may not just be a simple creature, but a manifestation of those
우리
abandoned
할머니 죽인 게
and
네가 아니라
marginalized by the
팔척겼다는
royal
거 왜 말 안
family.
했냐고.
Yeori's grandmother, the death of Neobdiak, and the sacrifices of countless shamans can all be traced back to one power, namely the royal lineage. Pungsan awakens once again here. He is not just a mere servant. The moment Palcheokgui begins to borrow his body and grows into a real threat, the character of Pungsan also enters a new phase. He is no longer just an executor in the shadows. He is evolving into a tool of threat. This 10th episode intertwined the steel resolve of Kangchul, the courage of Yeori, the determination of Lee Jung, the duality of Pungsan, and the true intentions of Palcheokgui, marking the beginning of a significant shake-up in the core of the Kwigging universe. Beyond a simple romance and a straightforward revenge drama, Kwigging is evolving into a drama that pursues truth, opening new layers with each episode. Episode 10 was not just a simple episode, but a turning point in the larger story. The bond between Kangchul and Yeori, as well as Lee Jung, has deepened, and the hint that the identity of the Palcheokgui is intertwined with the history of the royal family has heightened expectations for future developments. In the preview for episode 11, the even more powerful Palcheokgui, along with new strategies from Daeby and Kim Bong-in, are hinted at. Additionally, it is a key point to watch how the collaboration between Lee Jung and Yeori may experience any fractures. Who could the true identity of Palcheokgui be? And where will the truth of that grudge lead? Please look forward to episode 11 of Kwigging, and remember that subscriptions and likes are love.